Meanwhile, new and just released this morning, a study is breaking down federally funded school breakfast programs, measuring which states are really participating and those that are not.
Okay, so the best state here is West Virginia. That topped the list. Utah, though, at the very bottom. News specialist Brittany Copeland is here to show us the startling figures and what that means potentially to these kids.
Laura, Utah is ranked dead last, as you mentioned, but officials say there is plenty of room for improvement moving forward for this federally funded program that assists students from low-income families. According to the Food Research and Action Center, 60,000 of more than 174,000 Utah students are utilizing the free breakfast program. That's less than 35%, far below the national average. Utah is also showing very poor improvement among other states on this recent scoreboard, or scorecard rather. From the 2013 to the 2014 school year, the number of schools taking advantage of the free program only increased 1.4%. Now, this is nothing new for Utah. The state has ranked dead last in this category for quite some time, a number of years. There has been a few organizations that have tried to address this problem and get to the bottom of it, including Utahns Against Hunger. They've said in the past the bad grade could have to do with the fact that students perhaps are getting their breakfast before they leave for the day, or maybe their families and their parents just aren't aware that this program is even available. Back to you.
All right, Brittany Copeland live at the state capitol for us this morning, kind of breaking down the scorecard to see where Utah is, and unfortunately we're last.
I want to bring in Doug Wright on this for a little bit of perspective as well. It's 6:36, by the way. Doug, the participation numbers are low. Does that simply mean that there are less lower income families in Utah, or is this simply that the schools have not bought in?
See, we need much more of a breakdown on this, because on one hand, you could read this as the good news. When you look at some of the areas that are being served, they're very, very poor areas and very troubled areas, as we know. When we always talk about D.C., District of Columbia, West Virginia, we always see them in poverty categories, and we're a lot of help. You look at the reports that come out of the D.C. schools. You look at the reports that come out of the West Virginia schools. So I want to see the statistics. I want to see, are we not getting these meals to the poor kids who need them?
Or is it simply a matter that we have fewer than most other states?
And are parents taking care of the kids before they go to school? Are nutritious meals being served at home? There's so many unanswered questions in here because, you know, actually we're in pretty good company here, because New Hampshire also, which I was just in New Hampshire. New Hampshire is an interesting state with a lot of pride. They have fairly good statistics that come out of New Hampshire. And so we, along with New Hampshire and some other states, are at the quote-unquote bottom of the list. But some lists, it's good to be at the bottom. If we are not getting the services to the poor kids that need it in the Title I schools,
that's one thing, right?
That's one thing. But if it's just like, hey, why aren't you guys taking advantage of all the federal, freebies here, and why aren't you guys just giving free lunches or free breakfasts to kids, that's a whole different issue. So it's interesting statistics, but I want to see where the real facts are here. Because in general, yeah, okay, if we're not taking care of our kids, then that's an issue. But if we, with federal dollars, if we are taking care of our kids and parents are sending their kids off with a good meal, then that's a whole different issue. So